Hi there, welcome back to another Crypto Day video. So in today's video, I'm just going to run through some DeFi basics. So before we go into specifics, talking about kind of strategies and platforms and stuff like that, it's probably important just to run over the kind of basics of what DeFi is, what it kind of means, and run through some of those kind of like common terms, just so we're all on the same page. So jumping straight in, what is DeFi? Essentially, it stands for decentralized finance. Now, in traditional finance, if you wanted a loan, you might go to a bank. If you wanted to buy stocks and shares, you go to a stockbroker either online or in person. Excuse me. If you wanted to send money to a friend, you might use a bank transfer or a service like PayPal. And in all of these cases, there's a middleman, and they are controlling what you can do as well as taking a cut. So if you want to send money via PayPal, PayPal will take a cut for doing that. They will also require often KYC, so you have to give your kind of details. So everything you do is being kind of tracked. Now, DeFi flips this model on its head. So instead of relying on an intermediary such as PayPal or your bank, it uses smart contracts and blockchain technology to rebuild these common financial kind of tools like taking loans or sending kind of money in a decentralized kind of manner. So it operates without a central authority and it's built on blockchain technology, largely using smart contracts. So what can you do with DeFi? Now, one of the main things and probably the bedrock of DeFi is lending and borrowing. So if you have crypto assets, you can provide these to a protocol and earn interest. You can also borrow against them. So for example, if you had a lot of Ethereum, you could provide Ethereum to a platform such as Aave, and you might then borrow USDC. So you might borrow dollar stablecoin against your Ethereum. And there's no need for approval. It's not like going to a bank and saying, you know, can I borrow kind of money, and they want to see your collateral. If you have the collateral, you can borrow, and it's a kind of essentially an instant kind of process. So you can provide money to these protocols, and you can borrow against that collateral that you've provided. The second thing is decentralized exchanges, and this is essentially allowing you to move from one crypto asset to another. So you might have Ethereum and you might want USDC. So you can deposit your Ethereum in a decentralized exchange and swap that for USDC. You will pay a small fee, and the fees go to just not only the platform, but also people that provide liquidity. So in the same way that we might provide assets to a lending or borrowing platform, we can also provide assets to a decentralized exchange in the form of a liquidity pool, and you can earn your cut of the fees that people are paying to switch between different cryptos. And then thirdly, stablecoins. So the crypto market is very volatile. For example, last October, I think it was October the 10th, Bitcoin hit a local high of $126,000. When I started recording this or putting these slides together about half an hour ago, Bitcoin was at $68,000. So that's a massive drop. Actually, as I'm recording this now, it's gone back up to just over $70,000. So big swings in very short periods of time. So in order to sort of get away from that, a lot of people will swap their crypto, particularly if you've made a lot of money in kind of Bitcoin, the price has gone up, you might then sell for a stable coin. And stable coins are pegged to real world assets. So often it's the US dollar, so USDC, DAI, which is a decentralized stable coin, or Tether, or are all pegged to the US dollar. Then you have other assets such as Pax Gold, which is pegged to the price of gold. So they provide a stable store of value in volatile markets, and often they're used within kind of pools. You might often have a pool that is one crypto asset such as Ethereum and then one stablecoin asset. So by providing stablecoins, it allows a lot of kind of movement between different kind of cryptos. So they're a stable store of value in a volatile market, but they're also essentially kind of like the lubricant that allows a lot of DeFi protocols to work. And what are the main risks of DeFi? So three main risks: smart contract risks. So as we talked about before, there's no intermediary. The code or the smart contract is the kind of law by which these platforms kind of run on. But what if that code has a bug? And we have seen hackers exploiting vulnerabilities in smart contracts. Sometimes it could be kind of coding errors, but often it's maybe the way that these contracts are kind of are created, and then by exploiting, for example, an Oracle price, Oracle being like, you know, a platform that provides kind of prices to these kind of protocols, often by exploiting sort of like vulnerabilities in these kind of platforms, people have been able to steal large amounts of dollars, often in some cases billions of dollars worth of crypto from various smart contract kind of platforms. So you have to do your own research. You have to use well, you don't have to use, but I would advise using long-standing, stable kind of protocols. But you are always at the risk of smart contract risk. Volatility, obviously, this is the same within all crypto markets. Crypto is inherently volatile. You might provide assets to a liquidity pool that might be a mixture of kind of Ethereum and USDC, for example. The price of Ethereum then drops down massively, and you've lost US dollar value. So you have to be aware of the volatility within these kind of not just these platforms, but within these markets. And then complexity. DeFi can be confusing. Utilizing these protocols takes a little bit of getting used to. There's a whole new vocabulary around them. And although user interfaces are getting better, and there's been a real improvement, I would say, over the last sort of 3 or 4 years with platforms. There's a lot of kind of platforms that allow more simplified kind of interfaces now. They're by no means as simple as the banking app that you might have on your phone. So there is a learning curve involved in DeFi, and hopefully I will be taking you through some of these basics of different platforms and stuff like that in forthcoming videos. But anyway, that's it for this video. As I said, just a very quick video. Just wanted to run through some kind of basics so we know roughly what we're talking about when we get onto some of these more advanced videos in the future. So I hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much for watching. As always, hopefully I will see you on the next video. But until then, have a great day. Bye-bye.